So here they are, the most beautiful flowers you can have in your flower bed. But guess what? They have a secret. So these are cone flowers, um, and they're beautiful. I mean, you'd be crazy not to have these in your flower beds just because they're about as pretty as anything you can get. But they're also fantastic medicine. We've got two species here. We've got Echinacea purpurea, the purple coneflower, and we also have Rudbeckia hirta, which of course is black-eyed Susan. And they're cousins. They used to be in the same genus. Um, but now we've got Echinacea and Rudbeckia. But medicinally, they're almost identical, although there are a few very subtle differences. The root and the flower and the leaf are all medicinal. The leaf's not very strong. I never use the leaf. But the flower is very nearly as good as the root, strength-wise. Um, the in the United States, we're kind of hung up on the root, Echinacea root, and it's really great. But in Europe, they use the flower almost as much. And honestly, I use the flower almost as much as I use the root. And that's a win-win. First of all, I don't have to, dig everything up. And second of all, my wife's way happier if I come to the flower bed with scissors and not a shovel. So it's a win-win for me and the plant. But the plant has a reputation for being a really good immune stimulant, which it is. It has a reputation. Most people take it for colds and flus, which it's quite good for. But where I've found it extraordinarily good in my experience is with bacterial infections. I mean, it's a rock star for bacterial infections. In the veterinary practice, we've had some really serious cases of bacterial infection, and Echinacea is one of the tools I use for those cases. Echinacea has another property that you don't hear much about in the herb world, and that is that it's remarkably good, almost magically good, for rattlesnake bites and hobo spider bites and brown recluse bites. It has a chemical in it that neutralizes that venom. Those venoms tend to be venoms that dissolve tissue, right? Because spiders don't eat things, they drink things. They dissolve it, then they drink it through a straw. And Echinacea and black-eyed Susan both have a chemical in them that neutralizes that enzyme and keeps it from destroying the tissue. They also stimulate the body to make more hyaluronic acid, which is the glue that holds your cells together, which is what that enzyme is dissolving. So I've used it on those kinds of cases a lot in the veterinary practice and in the naturopath practice on spider bites. In the vet practice, it's usually a rattlesnake bite. In the human practice, it's usually a spider bite, but works really, really well. We have a formula called Venom and Sting. Have a look at that. There's some other guys in there that are really great too. But so what are the differences? Well, really the difference is pretty subtle. The difference is that Echinacea has a very cool energy, a very yin in the Chinese herbal model, a very yin energy. And black-eyed Susan has a warmer energy. It's a little more active in the body. And so if you're taking Echinacea, it's a really good idea, first of all, to take twice as much of it as you would any other herb. So if most dry herbs are a teaspoon or so for an adult, if I was doing Echinacea, I'd take 2 or 3 times that much. And I'd take it frequently. I'd take it every 3 or 4 hours. And so, if you have a friend that said, oh, I tried Echinacea and it didn't help at all, because they took 1 dose before they went to work in the morning, it didn't help at all. And that's why. You have to take it frequently and you have to take pretty high amounts. But if you do that, if you're willing to do that, it's really amazing. And if you take a catalyst herb with it, something stimulating to the body to wake the body up and tell it something important is going on, like we've got Echinacea, let's absorb it. A little peppermint, a little ginger, a little pinch of cayenne, maybe an antispasmodic like lobelia or somebody to get things moving. Maybe some licorice. A lot of those catalyst herbs can be really helpful for getting it on board into the body. Black-eyed Susan doesn't have as much of a need for that, again, because it has a sort of a more warming, energetic kind of energy. But anyway, flower and root are both medicinal. It's absolutely gorgeous. There's a couple of species of Echinacea that are common. One is Echinacea purpurea, which is what this guy is, this one here. And the other is Echinacea angustifolia. And I've planted both over the years, and I find that the Echinacea angustifolia, the first year you plant it, it comes up and it looks like it's going to die. And the second year it comes up and it looks like it's going to die. And the third year it comes up and it looks fabulous. And then the fourth year it comes up and it dies. You know, it's it's just kind of a sissy. I have a hard time getting it committed, you know. And maybe I'm doing something wrong, or my dirt's different than yours, and maybe you'd have really different results. But when I put Echinacea purpurea in the ground, it explodes out of the ground. It gets 4 feet tall and it blooms its brains out all summer, you know. And so it's producing a lot more medicine than the angustifolia. And I've used both, and some people say the angustifolia is a little bit stronger. I haven't seen that. I haven't found that to be the case. Purpurea works for me. And so I'd sure recommend, excuse me, I'd sure recommend getting that one. If you're going to pick one or the other, get the Echinacea purpurea. And then on the Rudbeckia, on the black-eyed Susan, Rudbeckia hirta is a really great one. But there's other species that are good too. There's other species of Echinacea that are good too. But those are the two that have the most research and frankly are most available. And they're the prettiest, so why not do that? So anyway, Echinacea, black-eyed Susan, tremendous medicines, rare beauties, and a must-have in your herb garden. I'm Dr. Patrick Jones from the Homegrown Herbalist School of Botanical Medicine. If you like this video, we'd sure appreciate it if you told your friends. That'd be great. Click that like button, click the subscribe button, swing by the website. If you'd really like to learn about Echinacea, the Homegrown Herbalist School of Botanical Medicine is a place where we dig very deep into a lot of things. You know, we don't do a 3-minute video, we do a 2-hour video on that plant, you know, and so lots of tremendous resources. We're barely scratching the surface of what this guy can do and how he can use it. But anyway, I'm Doc Jones from the Homegrown Herbalist School. Thanks for watching.